Lexicor IS.
Rene Franco, please.
Thank you. One moment. Rene Frankie.
Hi, Renee. This is Douglas calling you back.
Hi, Douglas.
Sorry, we got disconnected there.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what inspired you to do what you're doing now?
Excuse me?
What inspired you to do what you're doing now?
As far as starting a business?
Yes.
Well, I knew there was a lot of opportunity in the information technology arena, and it was ripe for entrepreneurs. So I knew that I was, a good hard worker with a good work ethic and a good sense of customer commitment. So I knew I could make a good living on my own as well as for somebody else. I wanted the freedom that comes with being an entrepreneur, and also there was a lot of opportunities financially and career-wise.
Okay, and what's your background in?
Well, I have 15 years IT experience, and I've got
IT experience, information technology?
Right.
Okay.
I have an undergraduate degree in computer science and a master's from Northwestern.
Okay. And when I'm putting this down, how should that read? Rene Frankie, entrepreneur or owner of...
Owner. I need to see anything that gets published.
Okay, yeah, I'll fax this over to you once we get it typed up. That's owner of Lexicor IS. Mm-hmm. Okay. Alrighty. And what are some of the challenges that you had along the way?
Cash flow, supporting the infrastructure.
Okay, well, can you give me a breakdown of that, supporting the infrastructure? What do you mean by that?
Infrastructure, rent, overhead,
Okay.
Support people.
Okay. Okay, and what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way?
To not bid too low,
Okay.
really understand the value of my services.
Okay.
Take my time in hiring good people.
Okay. And anything else?
That's pretty much the heart of it.
Okay, inspired to your back, challenges, lessons, and what would you advise for someone who's looking to do what you're doing, or?
Just do good planning in the beginning. Make sure you have a well-written business plan and all of your ducks in a row, so you kind of can carefully embark upon a new venture instead of reacting.
Oh, instead of reacting.
Right.
Okay. Is there a final word you'd like to leave our readers with?
With final words?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Go for it. Okay, that's cool. Could you finish this sentence for me? Actually, there's a gap in between. I knew I should have... No, something told me to blank. I knew I should have followed my first spine.
Something told me to...
Fill in the blank.
Write a business plan.
Write a business plan. Okay. Now, did you write a business plan?
Not until after I was in the company.
Okay, write a business plan first. Okay, well, we'll get this typed up and have it over to you for your approval.
For? I'm real particular in what I get published.
Oh, sure,
in.
absolutely. Zelda's writing a book called The Passion Principles, Pathways to Purpose, Power, and Profit. It's a book on career development, personal development, and she's interviewing people who are passionate about what they do, and she thought that you were one of the people that would qualify as a prerequisite for being passionate and being on purpose in what you do in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay, and what's the fax number there?
How many pages is it?
Probably, well, we haven't typed it up yet. I'd say at least a couple.
Okay. 312.
Okay.
214. 3510.
3510. And I already know don't send a cover page.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Information about additional Ameritech products, press 2. For all other requests, including new telephone service, press 8 611 4466.
I don't have
to
a
reach
problem.
the repair department directly.
I don't have a
Otherwise,
problem.
Please select from the following
Please
three
select
choices.
from the following. Conversation for accuracy, okay?
All right.
Ready.
Basically, we're following the 4 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And you got them there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first one is, even though I know a little bit about the story, I remember at Women Employed when you told you sold your car to get your first computer. That was very inspiring. So tell us, for the record.
What inspired you to do what you're doing now? Is that the question?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what inspired me is that as I looked at the news coverage on African Americans, that it was poor, it was not representative, and it was not what I call full measure. You see the burglar, you see the robber, you see the bad guys, you see the gangbangers. You see us portrayed negatively, less than what we are, and not who we are. I did not see a businessman. I did not see a college grad. I did not see the good kid. You did not see people like you and I go to work every day, pay your taxes, send your kids to school, go to church. That person was missing. The reality is, I did not see black reality being covered. Not that the robber doesn't rob. Not that the gangbangers don't exist. But that ain't all. And so I did not see that. And so I thought it was a misrepresentation. And so I wanted to create a product that presented us as full measured, not just as a people with problems.
Okay.
And I also saw, the second thing that I saw that bothered me is I saw people, black folks always in a box, in the black box, in the minority box, with a very niggerish portrayal.
Okay.
Again, not as a full American citizen living the American dream.
Okay. And I know you've had some challenges along the way. Do you need to get that?
No.
Okay. And would you like to share with us what some of those challenges
Well,
were?
the challenges have been what every small business goes through. The challenge has been to establish in the marketplace. The challenge has been capitalization. The challenge has been selling advertising. That's where we make our dollars. We're an advertising revenue-based paper. The challenge has been staffing, proper staffing, good staffing, solid staffing, reliable staffing. The challenge has been acceptance. I was told I was crazy. I was told it would never happen. I was told that by all standards, this won't make it. Marketplace is full. What you're doing is not the way it's done. You know, I was told all of that. So all of those were challenges and obstacles along the way.
Okay.
We did some non-traditional things. But, you know, as a business person, one, you got to believe in yourself and you got to believe in what you're doing. We have been a bootstrap operation. That is, I've never taken out a loan. Didn't qualify for SBA or any of that stuff. So it's been, if you placed an ad, you paid for it, and we've had remarkable growth. And I relied on the experts for some information, but I relied on my market for my direction because I knew that this was missing in the marketplace, and I wasn't the only one feeling that. And so Indigo, day one, when we hit the street, we've never had enough copies. To this day, we don't have enough copies.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah, it was a demand.
Okay.
And I look at it as a new product coming onto the market. You know, be you a big company, be you a small company, those are just things you run up against.
Okay.
I.e. Ted Turner, i.e. Bill Gates, i.e. anything new is like, proceed with caution.
Mm-hmm. And you went from a monthly to bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly to weekly.
To weekly.
Last May this year.
Oh,
in fact,
okay.
This next issue is this is our first full year as a weekly publication.
First full year, okay. Alrighty. And what did you learn? What are some of the lessons that you learned? I can tell in your voice that you learned not to listen to anybody, but...
No, it's not listen to anybody. It is selective listening.
Selective listening,
and it is what you listen to.
Okay.
With new concepts, and like I said, new things. Can you imagine Bill Gates telling somebody, I'm going to put a little TV screen on your desk with a little typing apparatus to it, and I'm going to change the whole world of business? Can you imagine him saying? They probably would have locked him up.
Oh, yeah.
You imagine with Ted Turner, it's like, I don't like the way you all do news. There's another way to do news, and I'm not even going to use named anchored people. I'm just going to play on people in their locales all over the world. Well, it's like, you're crazy. That's not the way you do news.
Somebody thought he was stark raving mad.
He was mad, okay? I'm going to focus. I was crazy. I was, you don't color, we don't use color, but I was recognizing some very cultural variations, some cultural differences, and really I saw the people kind of out of step, and like, you all are getting stagnated, you're getting old, you're getting, you're so established until you're out of touch with where people really are. And that was based on survey information. So I relied on my customer to talk to me as opposed to, quote, experts.
Oh.
I did rely on experts for the business.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, there's some firm rules of business that are permanent.
Okay.
Be you new, be you old, be you whatever. And so I relied on that. So it wasn't didn't listen, it was what do you listen to.
Okay.
But most of all, it's listening to yourself.
Okay. I like that. To back up for a second, what were some of the non-traditional things that you did?
In what regard? Everything I did was non-traditional.
Okay.
I mean,
when you were talking about some of the challenges that you had, some of the non-traditional things you did, like you never had a loan, you weren't SBA qualified.
Color on the cover with a photograph.
Okay.
Creating something that I call a MAGA paper. That is a magazine format on newsprint.
MAGA
That
paper.
in itself was non-traditional. You are either a magazine or a newspaper. I combined the two.
Okay, say that again. On newspaper, what was that? A magazine?
Magazine format.
Magazine format.
On newsprint.
Okay. So you have broken ground in that area.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty.
Distribution. Our distribution was a little different than the norm.
And how so?
We're in churches.
Okay.
Nobody puts papers in church.
Okay. Anything else?
In my first distribution approach, I was looking at where people are. We looked at some non-traditional modes of distribution.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to capture people where they play, where they work, where they pray.
Where they work,
where they play, and where they pray.
Play and where they pray. I like that.
And so we were looking, those were our criteria. Like, I would interview you and I would ask you, where do you go?
Okay.
You go to work, you go to church, and you go somewhere and play. Play is a big category. Play is the health club. Play is the restaurant.
Okay.
Play is the park.
Okay.
Play is the club.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could capture you, that's a psychographic distribution. If I could capture you at one of those places, then I got a shot at you, right?
Okay.
If I captured you at all three of those places, I'm on your radar screen.
Okay.
And so that was my mode of distribution.
Okay.
Now, that's crazy. Believe me, when you say that to people in the beginning, it was like, you are out of your mind.
I can imagine.
And I was like, yeah, right, okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is where people traffic.
Right.
I'm not out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it did.
Where people traffic. And what advice would you give to someone who's in your shoes who is not pleased with what they see in the media and they're thinking about starting a magazine or some type of something for African Americans to read? A magazine or, excuse me, some type of publication. What advice would you give to someone?
Know your market.
Know your market. I hear that a lot.
Know your market. Know what you're going after.
Okay.
But the single most important thing, I'd say, know your market and have a whole lot of energy.
Your market can have a whole lot of energy?
No, you have person
Okay.
have a whole lot of energy. Business is ruthless.
Okay.
Business is hard.
Okay. Ruthless.
So it's beyond a good idea. Is do you have the energy to pull the idea off? Do you have the dedication and the commitment to do what you got to do to make it happen?
Okay.
And rely on yourself. Don't rely on anybody.
Okay. To make it happen.
Can you make it happen? See, it's not, oh, this is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody you know's got a good idea, but are you committed to the idea?
Mm-hmm.
Can you make the idea come alive?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like, I want to have a baby,
Mm-hmm.
but do you want to get pregnant?
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay, do you really want to raise this child?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Do you really want to do that? You know, and I think you have to think through those issues.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, this is a highly competitive business.
Mm-hmm.
Any media, and requires a stigma. But it's also a business, particularly right now, just filled with opportunity.
Mm.
Suppose 10 years ago somebody would have told you would be receiving your news off of something called online,
Mm-hmm.
and you would be able to communicate all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
You would have put them away. Like, wow, you're crazy.
Tried to go and collect some money from them.
There you go.
For them, rather.
But you have these young kids, you're familiar with Yahoo?
Mm-hmm.
Busted the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have told you could earn your money, or our workforce would be at home
Mm-hmm.
on a computer?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, the breakthroughs coming through every single day. It's newness every single day. Who would have believed cable might outdo the major stations?
Good point.
You know, who would have told you that? Who would have said, oh, Channel 2, oh, forget Channel 2, I'm getting ready to come up with another channel. I'm getting ready to come up with another whole focus. So that's what I mean when I say the opportunities are, I think, galore in this whole technology, information. And the technology allows you, you know, to really do some things. I mean, really be creative and stretch and imagine and perform.
Okay. Wow. Fill in the blank here for me. Something told me I should have blank. I knew I should have followed my first mind.
I'm not with you.
I'd like you to fill in the blank. You know, sometimes how spirit will tell you to do something and you don't do it, and you look back in retrospect and you said, I knew I should have done or said or whatever. Something told me to do it, whatever it was. And I knew I should have followed my first mind.
What's the blank?
You fill it in. Like,
say, for instance, I knew I shouldn't have parked there without putting money in the meter. Now I got a ticket. I knew I should have followed my first mind. I knew I shouldn't have parked there. Or
I can't answer that because I followed my mind.
all the time.
Not all the time.
Okay.
But I call it following your gut.
Okay.
If I feel something in my gut now, I do it.
Okay.
Because to me, that is the spirit telling you what to do. That's the spirit talking to you, and you got to be in tune with it. You know, there's something called emotional intelligence, and I had the emotional intelligence coupled with the marketing intelligence with my business. I didn't. People oftentimes ignore their emotional intelligence because you can't justify it.
Okay.
You can't say, well, the report said this, or the expert said this. You respond. You can't justify it. So you say, I'm going to ignore it. Well, is that God talking to you? Is that small, still voice talking to you? Is that your unique creative energy talking to you? I don't know what it is, but I know it doesn't fail you. Now, you have to follow it intelligently. You know, it can't be, I want to take off all my clothes and run down the street because it's hot outside. But you might figure out how to do a new kind of bathing suit with that same intelligent energy. For me, it was the way I studied papers. I studied magazines. I went to Europe and studied magazines and papers. I just, walk the streets, pick up a paper. I would lay papers out. Why do you pick this one up, and why don't you pick this one up? I studied what papers moved, what papers didn't. I walked up to people on the street. You picked up that paper. Why? Okay. That was my intelligence base. What I heard everybody saying is, we like color.
Oh, okay.
Okay? However, they didn't have no color.
Okay.
I heard everybody saying, we like pictures.
Okay.
Front pages papers didn't have no pictures. You see what I'm saying? I followed that.
Okay.
Now, when I took that back into kind of industry for analysis, they said, oh, no, that don't happen. Well, today, every paper in Chicago
has a picture.
And if they got money, guess what kind of picture they got?
Color.
They got color picture. So what I was recognizing is that we, as a group, a societal group, we are visual people. We're not literate people anymore. With the invent of television, videos, the computer, we see a picture before we read, rather than you read and then see a picture. So the picture leads you. And I was seeing that. I mean, that was my gut saying, you need to put a picture here. Picture needs to be on the paper. People say, no, people read a paper. No, people look at a paper.
Okay.
People's reading patterns have changed. That was the gut.
Okay.
Everybody said I was nuts now. Keep that in mind. Everybody saying, this girl is losing it. She's crazy. But they weren't. I was recognizing a change.
Okay.
And I don't think other folk were necessarily recognizing the change. But then, even to this day, if you walk in some place and Indigo is there, watch what goes out and watch what stays. That color says, come to me, pick me up, talk to me. So I studied things like that, and to me, that was my gut. So I pretty much followed my gut.
Okay, but I'm sure there has been a time in your life
when you did, and get in trouble every time.
Okay, that's what I want you to fill in the blank in.
I don't know.
Something had to come to you. Maybe not with the paper, but maybe in
Somewhere
another
in life?
Yes, in another area of your life.
I dated somebody once I have no business dating.
Okay.
Because my gut told me day one, why don't you leave this man alone?
Okay.
I don't know. You want it in a business way? Oh, I looked at it. guess, okay, here's one thing. I looked at an office when we were looking for space,
Mm-hmm.
and we went into one office. And that office was terrible. However, it was everything that I had told the realtor that I wanted in an office. You know, the space was right, the individual little areas was right, the cubes were right, the area was right. All of that was right. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But when I went in it was like, something's wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't explain it, but it just didn't feel right.
Okay. Did you move in there?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. And the realtor even noticed it because it was the realtor said, "Boy, this place is really bothering you, isn't it?" And I said, "No way in the world I could be up in here." Now, I don't know what happened to that place, but I felt something. I mean, even now, I have, you go get gas or you go park your car, like you said, and it's like, something's not right here.
Mm-hmm.
I have, when I hire people, it's beyond the qualification and the experience and the this and the that, all of those things. I got to feel the person. Now, I guess maybe that's it. Traditionally, I've not followed that all the way, all the time. It's like I'll go by the experience base, or go by, the resume, follow that resume, and consequently I've done some mishiring.
Okay.
Because, like, this person don't work with me, or this person doesn't work in this company, or this person doesn't work here. The vibe ain't right. Or you got another motive or another agenda.
Okay. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. So in hiring people, they got to feel good to me.
Gotta
it's got
feel
to
good.
feel right. It's got to. What's the mesh?
Okay. It's got
I guess that's
key.
the paper has a rhythm. I mean, when I look at the paper, or I used to do all this all by myself, right? And when I would, before the finality of it all, I'd have to have a feeling. I'd have to have a rhythm on it. I'm still like that. I'm still. What's the rhythm? And when we close it, I'll still raise the question: does this feel right? Which means it's the right mix here. Do the pictures look good? Is the copy hip enough? Are the stories covered right? Did we say the right thing? Have we got enough balance? That's another whole kind of checklist,
Okay. Do you read the whole paper before it goes out?
My editors, the editorial staff does that. Now, there was a time that I read absolutely every word before it went out. I do not do that anymore.
Okay.
There are certain columns that I read. It becomes a workload problem, But you have to start, part of growing in business is you have to start trusting your people and passing down to them. And I've got great people.
Okay. But passing it down to him, I really appreciated that last article you wrote about the bowls.
No, that has just been the talk of the town. It was hilarious.
Because some relatives of mine, we got into an argument about. Well, they did. I didn't argue the point. I just said, I'm not a Bulls fan. I'm not anybody's fan because I don't watch basketball. It comes on. It comes.
Girl, these people crucify you when you say.
Oh yeah, they did. They
think something's wrong with you.
Yeah, they do think something's wrong with me.
It's like, what's wrong with you? I did a radio show on Sunday, and it was a sports station. So the guy was like, "How could you live in Chicago? How could Michael score these points? How could you have the greatest athlete and you be oblivious to it?" So I said, "Let me ask you a question. What's at the art institution? What's at the art institution? What's at the art institution? What's at the